growing calls for the deportation of a controversial British-Egyptian democracy activist after old social media posts from him emerged, calling for Zionists and police officers to be killed. Alaa Abd El Fattah now says he is sorry about his messages, and in the last hour, Downing Street has welcomed his apology. Also this lunchtime, President Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky say they've made progress at talks in Florida on ending the war in Ukraine, but there's no sign of a breakthrough. A man thought to be carrying a handgun has been shot and killed by police after a car crash in Norfolk. And the National Trust says the UK has experienced a weather roller coaster this year, testing the resilience of the natural world. Good afternoon. The Conservatives and Reform UK are calling for the British-Egyptian pro-democracy activist Alaa Abd El Fattah to be stripped of his UK citizenship and deported. He's now apologised for historic social media messages, some dating back 15 years, in which he called for Zionists and police to be killed. Last week he returned to the UK from Egypt, where he'd spent several years in prison. Tim Muffet has this report.
Alaa Abd El Fattah was freed from jail in Egypt in September. His latest imprisonment had happened after he was convicted in 2021 of spreading fake news, having shared a Facebook post about torture in the country. Pardoned following a long campaign by family and friends, as well as lobbying by the British government, Alaa Abd El Fattah arrived back in the UK on Boxing Day. But he now finds himself at the centre of another controversy, this time surrounding resurfaced social media posts dating back from 2010, in which he appears to call for the killing of Zionists and the police. In a statement issued overnight, Alaa Abd El Fattah said he unequivocally apologised and added that they were mostly expressions of a young man's anger and frustrations in a time of regional crises and the rise of police brutality against Egyptian youth. I particularly regret some that were written as part of online insult battles with a total disregard for how they read to other people. I should have known better. Alaa Abd El Fattah was granted UK citizenship under a Conservative government in 2021. However, there have been calls from Conservatives for it to be revoked and for the activist to be deported.
There is no question in my mind that this man should have his citizenship revoked. If I was Home Secretary, rather than just Shadow Home Secretary, I would be doing that today. And if Shabana Mahmood has our country's interests at heart, she would be revoking this scumbag's citizenship immediately and seeking to deport him. Because there is no excuse for what he wrote. He said he hated British white people. He said he hated people of British, Dutch and German origin. He said that Jewish people, civilians, should be killed. He called for Downing Street to be burned down.
On Boxing Day, the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, welcomed Alaa Abd El Fattah's return to the UK, but it's understood he was unaware of the controversial posts at the time.
I mean, he's going to get a chilly reception, and he can't possibly expect anything else, can he? But he's still a British citizen. I mean, you know, I'm sorry, but that is kind of, that's where we start. And we now have a Shadow Home Secretary who comes onto your programme and who is, you know, throwing around these ideas about what can be done, and they're just not based in law.
Questions for both major parties over the handling of this case look set to continue. Tim Muffet, BBC News.
Well, live now to Downing Street and our political correspondent Billy Kember, who's there. And Billy, the Prime Minister, as we heard in that report, welcomed this man back to Britain. So how difficult is this whole row for Keir Starmer and his government?
Well, I've just come from a briefing for journalists with the Prime Minister's spokesman, and he faced a whole barrage of questions over this issue. Clearly an unforced error for the government and an embarrassment for the Prime Minister personally over his tweet sent on Boxing Day. Downing Street said in this briefing, the Prime Minister's spokesman defended Mr El Fattah's entry to the UK. They said that they welcome the return of a British citizen unfairly detained abroad, as they would in all cases and as they have done in the past. It's central to Britain's commitment, they said, to religious and political freedom. But that didn't change the fact that they condemned these historical tweets, and they said they welcomed Mr Fattah's decision to apologise for them. It's understood from government sources that the view in government is that there were no immigration levers they could have pulled to prevent his entry to the UK, and nor was there anything more that could have been done in 2021 under a previous Conservative government when his application for citizenship was approved. That's because of a piece of case law which prevented a good character test being applied in this case. But questions still about whether this embarrassment could have been avoided for Keir Starmer.
Okay, Billy, thank you very much. President Trump says progress has been made to end the war in Ukraine after his talks in Florida with Ukraine's leader Volodymyr Zelensky. Mr. Trump claimed a peace deal is closer than ever. President Zelensky said the United States has offered him strong security guarantees for after the fighting stops. But territorial issues, including the status of the Donbass region in the east of Ukraine, have still not been resolved. From the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv, our correspondent Samira Hussein sent this report.
President Zelensky arrived at the Winter White House with what he believed was a workable peace deal. Nerves on display, the Ukrainians acutely aware everything hinged on Mr. Trump's approval. And a sigh of relief when the president agreed a deal was close.
I do believe that we have the makings of a deal that's good for Ukraine, good for everybody.
Mr. Zelensky by his side, echoing the president's optimism.
I hope that all these documents can bring peace as quick as possible.
It's going to go very quickly. I think we're in final stages of talking. It'll either end or it's going to go on for a long time, and millions of additional people are going to be killed. Millions.
But speaking on his way back from America, President Zelensky admitted how long those security guarantees will last is still up for debate.
In the documents, they are set for 15 years, with the possibility of extending. I raised this issue with the president and told him that we have been at war for almost 15 years, and I told him that we would like to consider the possibility of 30, 40, or 50 years.
And whatever is agreed to by world leaders will still need the approval of war-weary Ukrainians.
After all the pain that we got from the Russians, I guess maybe in hundreds years there can be peace, but not in the nearest future. Unfortunately, this is what I think.
I don't trust Russia at all. At first, Russia agrees to negotiate, and then they say no. And unfortunately, these games just go on.
What happens next will depend on Mr. Putin. After this weekend's barrage of attacks, few here believe the Russians are interested in peace. So now it's up to European, American, and Ukrainian national security advisors to meet to try and hash out some of the thorny issues that remained, primarily what happens to the Donbass region. And after that, the hope is there will be enough reason to have a meeting in Washington in the new year. Ben?
Okay, Samira, thank you very much. Samira Hussein reporting there from Kyiv. Here, Norfolk police say that a man thought to be carrying a handgun has been shot and killed by officers after a collision between two vehicles in Thetford. Armed police were called to the scene on the A11 road last night. Our correspondent Jessica Lane is with me with more details. What more can you tell us about what happened?
Well, Norfolk police say that they were called out to a collision between two vehicles at about 8:30 last night on London Road, which is in Thetford in Norfolk. Police say a man who is believed to have been the driver of one of the vehicles left the scene holding what was described as a handgun. Armed police came out and the man was shot. Emergency services were called, but he died at the scene. Now, it's standard procedure in a case like this for it to be referred to the Independent Office for Police Conduct, the IOPC, which is the police complaints watchdog. Norfolk police say they will cooperate fully with the investigation and will provide body-worn camera footage and recordings of 999 calls. The IOPC says that investigators have started to gather evidence, but it's all in the very early stages still then.
Okay, Jessica, thank you very much. A mother and her two children died in a fire which destroyed their home in the early hours of Boxing Day. Gloucestershire police said the father, who was a serving officer with the force, had tried to save his family but was unable to do so because of the severity of the blaze. Emergency services said the fire was believed to have started on the ground floor of the stone cottage near Stroud. The man who disarmed one of the gunmen who killed 15 people at a Jewish event at Bondi Beach in Australia has been talking about what happened that day. Ahmed al-Ahmed, a Sydney shop owner, born and raised in Syria, tackled one of the two gunmen from behind, wresting a weapon from him. He's been talking to the BBC's broadcast partner CBS about how he wished he could have saved more people.
My target was just to take the gun from him and to stop him from killing a human being life and not killing innocent people.
Do you realise that from your actions you saved countless lives that day?
I know I saved lots of people's life, innocent kids and women and oldest and men. And I know I saved lots, but I feel sorry still for the lost.
NHS leaders have been warned that a growing number of end-of-life patients being cared for in hospitals could affect the treatment of other patients in what's been described as an impending crisis. A consultant in palliative care has highlighted the issue during an online internal meeting of health leaders in Sussex, a recording of which has been heard by the BBC. So let's talk more about this to our health editor, Hugh Pym, who joins me now. A pretty stark warning then, Hugh.
Well, that's right, Ben. This was an online meeting in early November, and a senior doctor briefed colleagues in Sussex about the fact that local hospices were struggling and it was getting more and more difficult to find places for people needing end-of-life care. Therefore, there were more of them occupying hospital beds. Therefore, there were fewer beds potentially for those coming in needing treatment. And the meeting was told of a really difficult choice. Do you admit them for corridor care or just put them back in the ambulance, send them home, but they may die on the way home? And the meeting was told a crisis is coming and it's getting worse and worse. NHS Sussex has said they are committed to the best possible high quality palliative and end-of-life care. Those services are under pressure. The Royal College of Emergency Medicine, though, has said this is not restricted to one region. Nobody should have corridor care, least of all those at the end of their lives.
OK, Hugh, thank you very much. Hugh Pym there, our health editor. Compensation claims made to councils across Britain because of potholes have almost doubled in 3 years, according to new research from the motoring organisation, the RAC. It found just over 53,000 claims were made to 177 local authorities last year, and that compares to 27,000 in 2021. Payouts were made in just over a quarter of the cases. Mark Ashdown has this report.
They are a costly and sometimes dangerous nuisance for road users across Britain. Potholes can be hard to avoid. Hit one and you could be left with a costly repair bill. The RAC Motoring Group surveyed more than 200 councils across England, Scotland and Wales. 177 responded, and the figures revealed that the number of claims for damage caused by potholes had risen from nearly 28,000 in 2021 to 53,000. Just a quarter of claims resulted in a payout. Councils paid £3.5 million in total, at an average of £390 per claim. It can be pot luck, however, from county to county. While Derbyshire saw the highest rise in claims over 3 years, followed by Glasgow and Oxfordshire, some areas like Wrexham, County Durham and Aberdeenshire recorded a large fall in claims.
It does seem that councils have a variety of different criteria for what they class as a pothole. I think drivers would feel most defects that they're going over are potholes, but often they have to be kind of 4 centimetres deep and so many centimetres wide. And obviously, if you hit one, it can cause a real jolt to the car and serious damage. It's also, it's not just damage to vehicles, it's also a serious danger, particularly if you're on 2 wheels, on a push bike or a motorbike.
It is worth noting the number of claims overall did fall slightly last year. The government said it's investing £7.3 billion over 4 years to help councils resurface roads. And for the first time, they will be asked to demonstrate what preventative measures they're carrying out too. There is hope then that Britain's pothole problem might finally be turning a corner. Mark Ashdown, BBC News.
Now then, the National Trust says that Britain has experienced a roller coaster of weather this year. which has tested the resilience of the natural world. It says the mix of extreme heat and drought, coupled with flooding and severe winter storms, have been tough on many species and habitats. Well, our climate editor, Justin Rowlatt, has trekked into the peaks of Eruri, the Snowdonia mountain range, with a team of National Trust experts to explore the impacts and to find out how one of the country's rarest flowers are going.
We're north of Withvar, the peak of Snowdon, but I can't say more than that. The location of the alpine plant we are looking for is top secret. There are just 7 examples left here in Wales. So these are relics of the Ice Age that just love cold and wet conditions. The problem is that the weather, even here in the far north of Wales, has continued to get hotter and drier in spring and summer.
Yeah, so if we just be very careful as we approach the rock and just bare rock.
This tiny plant, tufted saxifrage, produces delicate white flowers in summer. They call it one of the jewels of Snowdonia.
They like cold weather. Now, we're getting extreme climates now, dry, warm summers, and also mild and warm winters as well. They're on the very edge of their sort of habitable range in the UK, in Eryri anyway. So, if these go because of climate change, it's almost like a canary in the coal mine, and signifying what's next. So it should be an alarm bell for us all, really.
This was both the hottest and sunniest year on record, and also brought the worst wildfires the country has seen. Almost 200 square miles, including here on the Abergwysin Common in mid-Wales. But 2025 did not just bring hot, dry weather. Storms bookended the year. Just around this village in North Wales, more than 1,000 trees down. Just look at this fir tree. It's normal for storms to bring down trees. The problem is new growth struggles in very dry weather. Volunteers give nature and
we collect local seeds because they grow better, and then we plant them, and then we plant them outside as well.
Simple as that.
As simple as that.
It's not just about restoring woodland, where new wetlands have been created by letting rivers run free, like here in Devon, and beavers to do their work. Nature has proved more resilient, the Trust says. And the Met Office is forecasting 2026 will be another hot year for the world, and likely another challenging year for UK nature. Justin Rowlatt, BBC News, North Wales.
And that takes us to a look at the weather forecast with Louise Lear. And we were hearing there, Louise, about the roller coaster of weather in this country, and it's going to be, one of the warmest years on record?
Potentially, Ben. It looks likely to be in the top 4. We can't confirm at the moment because of a little hiccup with some cold weather that's heading in our direction. Now, at the moment, it's quite quiet, it's quite overcast out there, but as we move into the new year, just take a look at this. It can stay largely dry to begin with, but turn noticeably colder. Can be some snow in the forecast, so don't go into the kitchen quite just yet. We're all under influence of high pressure this week, weather front producing a few scattered showers as we go through the evening. Maybe a risk of an isolated shower coming in off the North Sea. Clearer skies across Scotland and Northern Ireland. That's where we'll have the lowest values through the early hours of Tuesday morning. Maybe -2 or -3 degrees, holding up just above freezing further south. So that's where the best of the sunshine will be. Scotland. And first thing, the wind direction driving in a few isolated showers to the east and maybe down through the Channel Isles and the Isles of Scilly. But there will be some sunny spells around tomorrow, more than we've got today potentially. But a cool day, 3 to 7 degrees. However, as we move out of Tuesday into New Year's Eve, we're really going to notice a difference. A widespread hard frost to greet us quite widely across the country. Some spots getting down as low as -7. So a cold start to New Year's Eve. A crisp one across England and Wales. Change of wind direction producing cloud and a few scattered showers into Scotland. Here not quite as cold just yet, Further south, 4 or 5 degrees. But it's a cold front that's bringing those showers in Scotland. As that sinks its way steadily south, a northerly wind is set to kick in. And yes, that means that some of the showers could turn increasingly wintry. So take a look at this. Not just in the far northeast of Scotland. It's not out of the question. We could even see some snow showers further south. Keep watching the forecast. Ben.
We certainly will. Louise, thank you so much. That is it from me. The news does continue here on BBC One, because now it's time for a look at the news wherever you are. Goodbye.